A 7th tier football club had more TikTok followers than Premier League giants, with over 1 million fans watching their videos. But how did the world's youngest football owners build such a massive fan base? And can they turn these large numbers into a sustainable football club? Claude, when you took over Walton and Hersham, did you expect that in 2025 that you'd be playing in step 3?
We actually said at the start that we had a 5-year plan to try and get to step 3, but nah, I don't think any of us believed that that would actually happen.
What was the reason in the beginning for buying a football club to become the world's youngest owners?
Basically just boredom at university. I was just in a place where I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. This opportunity came around and it was basically the club was going to fold before we took over. So it was almost a free hit for that year of, look, if we fail, we fail. So yeah, gave it a shot that year and never really looked back.
Did you know what it would take to run a football club before purchasing Walton Hersham?
Nah, not at all. Like, we were so clueless. There was no business model. There was a business model, but we didn't know what we were doing. We expected there to be like 100 people and that to 100 people at each game, and that to equate to exactly 100 adult tickets sold, and the finances were all over the shop. But I think part of that naivety was the reason we actually took this on, because I don't think that if we had known what we were in for, we would have taken it on at all, because it actually makes no sense.
One thing that this club has done brilliantly, better than most football clubs, was that social media presence. How big was that for you in the beginning to grow the football club?
There was actually like a season before we had done that. We actually got I think it was a Copper 90 video done from a parent of a student at our old school. And he just came down and did a little freelance video on us. And when COVID hit, we just started posting clips of that video onto TikTok, and the first video did about, I think it was like 900k views, and then we just consequently started posting the rest of that video. And then the idea came about to maybe try like a match day vlog sort of thing, like youngest football club owners match day vlog. That first video got about 1 million views, and I think this was the time when TikTok was real booming because everyone was at home, and we sort of jumped on that. And I suppose with social media, it's who does it first always wins, right? So we were the first to sort of do that, and then yeah, we just continued making those videos until we almost perfected the style, and it was an unbelievable run for like 3 years as well.
So there was no real plan in the beginning,
Nah.
when taking over the football club, to go, right, we're young-minded people.
No.
Social media is a big thing, let's jump on it.
We got lucky that COVID even happened, because we were running out of money. I mean, there was a time when we had 11p in our bank account, and then COVID hit, and then that was it. Wages stopped, rent stopped, everything stopped, and like that's the only thing that stopped us from going into like minus money.
So how important was the TikTok revenue at that time to come in?
Again, there was no strategy to do with the TikTok either, right? This is the common misconception. Everyone thinks that like the club has made so much money off TikTok, and we've not really made a penny off TikTok. I mean, it was all just fun, right? There was no plan to monetize the TikTok. There was no plan to, and I actually think it translated onto the videos, and the reason why it did so well is because it was such raw content, right? It was all about the good feel. It was all about the fun, and there was never any motive to make money. I mean, eventually we did manage to get a few sponsors off the back of the TikTok, like classic football shirts for one. And yeah, we were able to grow the awareness massively, which obviously then attracted more sponsors in the local community and things like that. But in terms of the bigger picture, there was never really a plan. I mean, for one of the videos, I'll give you an example. It was after Fleet Town. I remember we went to Bristol for a night. That morning, everyone was hungover. I was just sitting in the front room, just completely on my own, right? And I just made the vlog, and that vlog did 2.3 million views, and you could hear like the audio was terrible in that video as well, and it was just sort of mocked up in about 20 minutes, and that was just it. I think, as I said, it translated that. It was almost like this is achievable, because it wasn't something that was so far-fetched. It was just a bunch of boys taking over a football club and just doing their thing in terms of what they knew, the socials, the having fun with each other, and that's what it was back in those days.
How did you divvy up the workload in the beginning?
It was, I'm sure the other boys, I mean, I'm playing football with them tomorrow morning, Sunday League. The other boys will say it was a mess. In terms of like the structure, it was just a load of mates in a group chat, just arguing about loads of stuff for about 3 years. Obviously, look, I live in this local area, so a lot of that work was obviously on me. When we first started all together, 2 of the boys were in Durham, 1 of the boys was in Newcastle, 1 of the boys was in Bristol, and 1 of the boys was in Exeter. And then 1 of the boys dropped out and was able to help out more here. I was in Kings, and then I dropped out and went to Surrey, and that's how we really started. So yeah, in terms of the workload, it was so random.
Why do you think that the world's youngest football owners has resonated with so many people and fans? Because when you started here, there weren't that many people coming to the games.
No.
And now in step 3, you're getting a really good crowd.
I mean, the dream was always, when I first started, I was like, imagine if we were able to get, I don't know, 400 people down here. Because when we first took over, I think there were about 30 people here at the games. And I was like, imagine like 100 people, right? And then we got 100 people, and it was straight away, imagine 200 people. And then we got 200 people, and it was imagine 400 people. And then we got 400 people in the FA Cup, I remember, against Guildford City. And like, it felt packed. When those new attendances came, it felt packed. And now we've gotten to the stage where it was always 1,000. And then we got 1,000 against Chatham at home in the FA Cup a couple years ago. And then there was like no limit, right? And now we've managed to sell out twice through playoff final and then playoff semi-final most recently, which is around 2,500. And now it's like, well, how can we get 4,000, right? That's where we want. We never expected the community to get around the club. There was a little bit, right? Walton Hersham is a well-known football club in the local area. So we knew that if the club started to do well, there would be that supporter base. And I think there is. And ultimately, like, we've seen that reaction. So we just need to build on that and keep it going.
As the fan base grew and grew and grew,
Yeah.
what did you guys have to do off the pitch? Because having 50 people here is completely different to having 400 to 1,000.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, mainly like security and that sort of thing was like the biggest part of it. In terms of like food kiosk and all of that, we needed to add things like that, added a club shop. We're in quite a unique place in terms of we don't actually own the ground, we don't manage the ground. So it's I've seen in your previous videos like people talking about how important like the bar revenue is. And we don't get bar revenue.
Oh, wow.
Until this point, we're 6 years in and we only get gate revenue. We get some of the food kiosk money and obviously banners around the pitch, and that is basically what we can generate and create. So in terms of off the pitch, logistically we needed more volunteers from what it was back in the day. With there was a little rota in our WhatsApp chat of, right, you're doing this, boys, you're doing this, you're doing this. And it was like, sorry lads, I'm not there today, I'm paintballing. Like, that's what genuinely some of the things we had to deal with was. And now, you know, we've got a team of around 15 to 20 volunteers every match day that have to be here and helping out.
How much did the media attention in the beginning, the PR, it made the news, how much did that help with the awareness of the football club?
Oh, massively, massively. I think, look, if you mention Walton and Hersham to basically anyone in non-league and anyone in this local area, they now know the name, right? Which is where we wanted to get to, which is what it was back in the 70s and 80s. It was almost that household name around these levels of football. I remember the other week we went viral for the 3 goals in extra time against Dorchester, right?
Joe Powell touches it. Did it? Oh my God, it's 3-0! It's 3-0 to the Swans! They've scored 3 goals in the space of 3 minutes!
One of the viral Twitter pages tweeted that out, and you could see below on the comments, like people going, oh, isn't this the club with the youngest football club? So there is that awareness that now when Walton and Hersham is mentioned, it rings a bell. It might not seem like much, but it goes a long way.
In 2022, Walton and Hersham had a TikTok following of over 750,000, which was bigger than 6 Premier League clubs. So why was their story so appealing to so many people?
I suppose the uniqueness of story, right? It's the idea that, look, if Todd Bowley started a TikTok account and was talking about, you know, running the football club, it's not relatable because you've got this multi-millionaire who's running this club. With us, we would argue about who's getting like the McDonald's in the car with my mates. Like, I couldn't afford stuff. We're in debt. We're in student debt. Like, we don't have the money. We couldn't afford to put the money in. So it was that real raw story of like, there is a world where the people watching this could also do the same thing. You can pick up your phone, you can record the games here. Because I remember back in the day, the TikTok content was it was handheld phone content. We were all standing behind the goal, handheld phone. I mean, some of the content is shocking, but it was just that. It was that uniqueness of this isn't anywhere else. Like, this is, and the fact that we started doing it from such an early point and people were able to join that journey as well with us as we grew up and as we progressed through the leagues as well. Like, it was just a perfect storm.
What are you like hosting
Terrible.
opposite owners, directors.
I'm the worst. I mean, I remember we played, this is no disrespect, but this is actually what my first-hand view was. We played at Windsor in the League Cup final, Combined Counties League Cup final. We won 2-1. Like, bear in mind, that day is 25 degrees. All the boys have rocked up at Spoons beforehand. We've had like a pre-match meal. We've turned up to the game sort of late, been on commentary the whole game. Afterwards, buzzing, it's our first trophy. Go into the boardroom afterwards where like the whole league, and mate, it felt like a morgue. It was like everyone's in suits and we weren't even allowed in. It was like everyone was black tie, everyone was suits, and then I'm walking in with sunglasses, shorts, t-shirt. Boys have beers in hand, and it's just like step in, step out. Cheers, guys. We'll have to go now. And to be fair, it's probably why I think we were ranked like second lowest in hospitality last season. Like, no, I shouldn't really say that, but we were. And that's why like we have to change. We have to have more professional people in there. I can't be in there, or if I am in there, I need to stay in there. I can't just be rushing in going, right, I need to go do commentary, see you guys, and then go out. Like, these people, again, these board members, they all work hard. They all deserve to have the correct hospitality. So that's something massive that we're working on at the moment, where when people come to our games, they need to be treated correctly. Unfortunately, in the past, you've had a group of boys that probably don't even know how to work a washing machine, barely make their beds in the morning. Do you know what I mean? And that's just it. That's just what it was. And I think it was really hard to digest from let's say you're a professional businessman of 50 years coming into this boardroom and you're looking at like school kids. That's what it was. So yeah, we got to fix that. I need to grow up. So yeah.
What's the toughest decision you've had to make as owner of this football club? Because I bet there's been loads.
Sacking our previous manager, who had got us 3 promotions on the trot.
How'd you do that? How'd you go into an office?
Well, I didn't, that's the thing.
He copped out.
So I've never actually sacked anyone. It's always been a new person coming in who's then gone, right, you can take that. So it was actually Chris that managed to do that.
Chris, you're on sacking duty today, mate.
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether it was right or whether it was wrong. I just never been... I'm young. I've never been in that situation. I wouldn't know how to handle myself professionally in that scenario, so I just thought it's best to just leave it. The actual decision to have done that after 3 back-to-back promotions, after finishing just outside of playoffs as well in step 3 first season, unfortunately, when you're making decisions in football, sometimes you almost need to completely forget about the past, no matter how difficult it is, and focus on what's best for the football club for the next 5 years.
Wow.
And that's just what we did.
In charge of the team now is Billy Rowley, who's a familiar face at the football club. But what's it like working for the world's youngest football owners?
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride. It's been a great journey, to be fair. We've started off, I always remember, I'll never forget our first game here. We looked up at the stand and there was about 40 people here. Half of them were family, a couple of dogs. The journey, the ride we've been on has been quite incredible, really. From that to last season when we were playing in front of 2,500 in a playoff semi. Yeah, it was incredible. I've been here the whole way. I've seen the growth of the club and it's been good.
Has it surprised you that a bunch of 19-year-olds could have this much of an impact on a football club?
Yeah, it has, to be fair. It has. I think they'd probably admit as well, a lot of it's been luck. We had some great players for the level in the lower leagues. Group of mates, all local boys that played for higher level clubs. Managed to get them in because we were friends with them. Just the sort of snowball continued, really. We just managed to just keep ploughing through the leagues. You know, we've hit a bit of a halt at step 3. It's a grueling league. It's tough, a lot of money in it. So yeah, so far so good, and we'll keep going.
Could you believe the reaction that it got on social media?
Yeah, I think we were the first. I say we, like the Collage and the guys. They were the first guys to jump on the TikTok scene, which helped. I think they was doing the vlogs every Sunday, which were quite funny actually back in the day. Like some good comedy on there, which generated a lot of interest. And I actually haven't checked these stats, but I think we're the most followed club outside the Premier League, potentially even still. So yeah, fair play to them for all that.
What's it like for you when you have to go and make a decision, or you want some new players? How are those conversations? Do you have them with Collage, or do you have them with someone else now?
It's a duo now, so it's Collage and Chris. But to be fair to them, they've always been quite good with that. You know, we do set a budget like every team at the start of the year, and we've always been quite good at sticking to that. So I think it's probably in 5 years we've probably had 2 conversations about, look, can we just stretch it slightly? We've had a good group of lads that have been quite committed and loyal to us. So we haven't really been a team to go and find a new group of players halfway through the season or anything like that. Conversations have been quite smooth. There hasn't been many of them, but I'd imagine like as we keep going through the levels and the players get better, those conversations might happen a bit more frequently, yeah.
And the success on the pitch has been incredible, back-to-back promotions.
Yeah.
Step 3, like you said, is a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
What are your hopes and ambitions for this season with the budget you've got compared to some of the other big spenders in the division?
Yeah, look, we finished third last season. But if you look at the team that we've got now compared to that playoff semi, I think it was 5 different starters because of loans and stuff. We've started quite well. We're sitting in third today. I think our ambition has to be playoffs again, which is top 5. I think we'd be disappointed if we didn't get top 5. There's definitely over 5 teams in this league that pay more money. I think there's a couple of teams that train sort of hybrid or full-time in the league. So it's tricky, it's difficult. There's other things that come into play. Like, as you can probably tell, our pitch isn't the greatest. 10 years old now. Doesn't really suit us too well. That's why we've got the sprinklers out here and stuff. We try and do as best we can with that. But we're hoping to make playoffs and we'll see.
Despite the recent success, it hasn't all been plain sailing. In fact, when Billy first took over, he only had 3 first-team players.
No, so it was a year ago, yeah, just over a year ago. It was a really, really tough decision, to be fair. Like, I was working here 5 days a week. I had a lot of coaching going on here. I'd been at the club already 5 years previously. And it would have been stupid of me to walk away from it, really. It was worrying. I was sitting in Spain on a sunbed having a beer and got 3 players coming training. But slowly but surely managed to have a few meetings with some lads. We got a lad called Joey Jones, who's our captain now. He's played for Salford in the Football League, played for Woking, Dagenham, like top player for the level. Managed to get him in.
Joey, what attracted you to the Walton Hersham project?
I can't lie, I'm very local to Walton. I live in Cobham, so that was the first thing. Second thing was Bill, the manager, just his principles, his tactics, the way he likes to play football suited me. So yeah.
What do you make of the social media following that this club has got?
It's amazing, yeah. I think that we can use that traction to go out to kids, families, to create a real atmosphere around the club, but also around the community.
What do you think Football League clubs can learn from a club like Walton Hersham?
Yeah, I think just being open for conversations with fans. Like, we're all one. At the end of the day, like, we're all people, and the more we can interact with fans and kids and elderly people, top clubs probably at times that disconnect is there to see, but here it's really, really good.
You played in the Football League and the National League. Is the gap between the divisions the closest it's ever been?
Definitely, yeah. Every year it's getting smaller. There's more full-time teams now at lower levels, and it really is a close gap now.
But Joey isn't the only star signing the club has made recently.
Managed to get a forward from the league below who's like a bagsman at these levels, David Rogalski. I think he scored 80 goals in 90 games for Marlow in the league below. Some people thought it was a bit of a gamble, but if you see him up close, you realise how good he is. So once we got those 2 in, and the 3 or 4 that we had, I already knew we had 7 or 8 players that were good for the level. Yeah, it slowly started to pick up from there. But yeah, I was worried, mate, at one point. Yeah.
What's the most difficult thing about having the world's youngest football owners?
A lot of the chants from the fans. They give us a lot of stick, to be fair.
That's just non-league though, isn't it?
TikTok when we concede a goal and all that nonsense. But we take it with a pinch of salt, really. It's good. We get a great crowd here now, numbers wise. It's on a good day over 1,000. It has its pros for sure. Not too many cons. Like you say, every group of football fans.
It's the modern day now in non-league football.
And I love it. Even when the opposition are behind our goal, giving us a bit of stick, that's what it's about, isn't it? For the most part, we win a lot of games here. Touch wood today. So yeah, there's nothing really negative that comes from it. The lads Collage and Chris here, they do a brilliant job with the production of the highlights and stuff. So we do get a lot of eyes and exposure, and it's great for everyone. That definitely has its cons. We do lose some players to higher level clubs, but yeah, for me personally, it's a good showcase to show people how we play, what we do, why we do it. Yeah, it's good. It's been good.
The success you've had off the pitch has also resonated on the pitch with back-to-back promotions. Has that made things a lot more difficult becoming an owner, because you're going to have to deal with all the new regulations as you go up the leagues and players will want more money?
So the funny thing is, I was in the council offices, before our semi-final last season, because we didn't know, if we went up, we didn't know what was going to happen, because, for example, this pitch would needs to be ripped up. There needs to be new stands. There needs to be so many new things that have to happen in order for us to play this next level. But at the same time, we can't stop being ambitious. Our fans come every match day, invest in the football club, and want to watch a team that's going to compete on the football pitch. You can't attract players of a level if you're not going to show ambition, right? The management team need to be supported. So there's all of these things that constantly counteract each other. From a business sense, it would make sense to make sure you know what your next 5 years is going to look like. But instead we decided we'll try and do everything at the same time. So that's been quite busy recently.
You started off with 7 of you in the beginning.
Yeah.
A few of them have dispersed and gone on to pastures new. What was the biggest reason for that?
It's become a new beast. In step 6, it was beautiful. It was like so
raw, isn't it? It's exciting. It's
That's
all
what
happening
it
really
was.
quickly.
We'd be able to turn up to a game. I remember one time we turned up to Ash United, and we saw on our Twitter 2 minutes in we had just scored to make it 1-0. We're still sitting in the car on the way, and our manager had actually gone on the Twitter and tweeted that. This is what I'm talking about. And then in the first year, our manager left of that cut season, and we didn't know about it until we saw it online on Twitter, and one of the boys sent a screenshot to our group chat, and we're all on pro clubs. Like, we're just playing pro clubs, and we're like, lads, our manager's just left. And this is what it has been the whole time, and now you're in step 3 and you're competing with the likes of, you know, you go to some of these stadiums, you got Dorchester, you go to Gloucester, you've got Havant and Waterlooville, and
big clubs,
huge clubs, and you're thinking this is what we need to try and compete with.
Mason plays Joel Powell. Joel plays Jack Wood on the edge of the box here. He's inside, he puts it across, and it's Rogalski! 1-0 to the Swans!
And look, on the pitch, I think most people would agree that we probably have competed, but the rest needs to catch up. The rest needs to now compete with the size of these clubs, and that's where we're trying to get to. And to get to that place, you need to act like a proper business. And unfortunately, as we all agreed, a group of friends is not going to get us there. It's not going to get us there, and that's just it. It was a full-time commitment, and that's what we needed to understand.
A big word in football is sustainability.
Yeah.
Especially in non-league. We've spoken to Harry Hugo about it. What are you guys doing to make sure that this club is sustainable?
The fan base for us, it's so difficult because we don't get the bar money, right? So you've just mentioned Farnham, right? We can't talk about price per head because we don't have the capability to sell alcohol or sell different things to our fans. What we need to do is continue growing our fan base, right? We need to make sure that we're very conscious about what we spend. We need to be smart in the market. I mean, last year we had, I think it was 4 or 5 loanees in our team. If you look at our team, I think the average age last season from a lot of our lineups was an under-21 side. We want to make sure that we stick to a model of young, hungry footballers, as well as sprinkled in a few seasoned pros, but unfortunately, like, that's just where we're at. That's what we need to do. We need to spend smarter than a lot of teams because we don't have the income generation capabilities of a lot of teams. Because obviously we brought in a new CEO this year. We've realised that we need to reinvest. We need to invest in the company and the business for the business to actually be able to make money long term, right? And that's what we're currently doing. And then obviously we've also got the American side of things, which is a project that is being worked on at the moment, and we've got 3 schools in America now, which again I would never have ever imagined would ever have happened, but it has. Chris is grinding over there with that. We've just got to be a lot more creative than a lot of football clubs have to be, because we're not in a position of a lot of other football clubs. Like, for example, let's say our playoff semi-final, we had 2,500 people down here. Did we make any money? People would think, they've caked it. No, we didn't make any money. We spent it all on security. We had to split the gate 3 ways, and then we didn't make any money on the bar. This is where it starts to get a bit like, this is where we have to be creative, and we have to just keep grinding away with regard to community awareness, with regard to getting people through the gates.
Gen Z football fans these days are all online and they're looking at the TikToks. How much can you utilise that moving the football club forward?
Yeah, it's a huge part of our strategy. Obviously, not just community awareness, but in general, we've got plans to make sure that we can try and monetize what we have in terms of our following, to offer special content, to offer a different experience for people that have followed the football club all this way. So yeah, there's plans in store, and we've just got to get there. At the moment, there's a list of everything we could possibly do, and we're slowly getting through the list. So.
And on that list, what does the future of Walton and Hersham look like? What are the goals?
The
Football
goals?
League in 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's go with that. Let's see where it takes us. But look,
Just add it to your list.
I think first and foremost, I want to become a professional football club. Now, we've identified that a professional football club doesn't have anything to do with the level, right? It's full time. That's where we want to get to, and everything needs to change in terms of on the pitch, in terms of off the pitch. There isn't one thing that can stay the same, unfortunately. So that's what the next 5 years looks like.
Into Anis. Anis on the edge to Joey. Joey, one more. Elliot Bolton shoots. Oh, and the keeper's made a massive error. And the ball's in the goal. And it's Elliot Bolton, the goal scorer, takes a shot that no one really expected to go in. And the goalkeeper just didn't make sure. And it crept under his arm to put the Swans 2-1 up.
What's the biggest thing you've learned being the world's youngest football owner?
Football clubs don't make money. they lose money. And that is the number one thing I would say. So for anyone who is wanting to take on a football club that doesn't have money, don't do it. Don't save yourself the hassle. Like it's great fun. It's great fun. And another thing is luck is a massive part of it. Luck is a massive part of football, of business, and when you do get lucky, you make sure that you capitalise on that luck because it doesn't always fall your way.
But it's part of the beautiful journey. Long may it continue. I wish you all the success, mate.
Thank you very much.
Top man.
Cheers.